Hey everyone, and welcome back to BMX News. This is a weekly BMX news show where I talk about everything that happened in the previous week within the world of BMX that I think you guys might care about. That being said, I have a couple things I want to highlight this week, starting out with an interview over on the Old Fat Guy Facebook page with the one and only Cru Jones, Bill Allen from the movie Rad. My buddy Stoney runs Old Fat Guy BMX, and he got Bill Allen on there, and he did a fantastic job interviewing him, and they talked about a lot of different things, including a new release of the movie Rad on Blu-ray and DVD in 4K, and I believe that this is a version made from scans of the original film from the movie. And for those of you who don't know what that means, whenever they filmed movies back in the day with film cameras, the quality that we saw in the theater wasn't as good as the actual quality on the film, and the technology that we have available today lets us scan that film and essentially show it in the quality that it was actually captured in, which is pretty cool. And I think there's probably a lot of you that are excited about this. If you guys didn't know about this interview already, it's linked in the description below as the first thing that I have to talk about. Then the next thing that I want to talk about this week has to do with Sean Burns, and if you guys didn't know or hear in my previous news video, Sean Burns actually crashed and broke his back, and he had a GoFundMe out there because of all of the medical expenses that he's going to and already had to deal with to have to do with this. Well, he posted up a video on his Instagram of him already walking with a cane, which is something that is absolutely amazing because his outlook was that he was going to be happy just to walk again, and the fact that it's only been a couple weeks now and that he's walking with a cane just shows that this dude is going to get back on his bike, and hopefully we'll see him riding at the same level that he was before. And that is something that I wanted to talk about just before I talked about this Eclat video that just came out this past week that I purposefully have not watched all the way up until this point because I want to give you guys my first reactions to it. And just as I suspected, that was one of the craziest videos that you'll probably see this week, maybe even this year. The last clip in there is absolutely mind-blowing. I don't know how many stairs that was on that last one. They were more like blocks, and then there was a fence involved too, and he had to have traveled like 20 or 30 feet from the top to the bottom, and it was just nuts. And then there was a couple of creative clips in there too that I was really excited about. He actually did a tree ride to double peg grind on kind of a setup that you really have to just see to understand. And overall, this is just a perfect place to start the BMX news video this week. So if you guys haven't already, check out the GoFundMe, contribute if you can, and at the very least, maybe give him some words of encouragement over on his Instagram page. After that, I want to talk about kind of a bummer. I know we went from like a super extreme high, now we're going to a low, and that X Games 2020 in Minneapolis has been completely canceled. Kind of a bummer, but what did you expect at this point? All of the events that have been going on have just been canceled, and X Games is another one of those events that they're just not going to compromise anything. They're not going to take any chances, so it's canceled. It sucks, but it is what it is at this point. And now to continue with the crazy roller coaster of ups and downs in the world of BMX this past week, Brad Sims has been announced to be on the Fit Pro team. Apparently they've been trying to get him on Fit for the better part of 10 years now, so to see him finally on the team just makes me hope that more good things come for Brad Sims and that he can just keep doing what he's doing and staying on top of BMX the way that he is. Because if you guys haven't been paying attention, Brad Sims is everywhere online, at least on Instagram. Seems like every single week he's doing something that is completely mind-blowing to half of the BMX world, and then the other half just doesn't know that it's happening because they're not on Instagram. So with that being said, I'm excited for Brad, and now we can start talking about the videos from this week. The first one that I want to talk about is really not even an actual riding video. It's more of an art piece, but it's a really awesome video. It's called BMX at Home, The Amazing Session, and it was put together as a top-down stop-motion animation piece, all done without the camera moving at all. So everything that you're seeing in there is manipulated for each frame. So when he's riding across and you see the lines in the road moving, he's moving those lines every single frame to make this video. And just knowing that and looking at it just goes to show how long this had to have taken. And I really just wanted to explain that for you guys so you can really appreciate what's going on and the amount of work that went into it. And aside from appreciating how awesome this video is, also appreciating how much work actually goes into making a stop motion video that's a minute and a half long. It was also cool to see how he utilized different objects that he had around his house for the different things that he was riding in the video. For example, I think that he used some sheets to make the dirt jumps in the video. It was an awesome video to watch, and I recommend anyone to watch it because I feel like anyone can enjoy it. The next one doesn't really have any actual BMX riding or tricks in it, but it features Tate Roskelley doing something creative, so I figured I'd share it for you guys, and it's an entertaining video to watch if you want to watch a 2-minute video. It's called Tate Roskelley's Amazing Quarantine Contraption, and basically what he did was create a Rube Goldberg device in his house using different random things just like you do, as well as some BMX parts, and at the end of it, a wheel rolls down this thing and he ends up catching it on his forks, as Tate's known for doing, and then he just rides away in his house. It's pretty entertaining, and the very beginning of it is a whole bunch of different fails, and I'm assuming the fact that take 236 was the last one before they actually finished it, that it took 236 attempts of actually filming this thing to make it happen. So with that, they did more attempts than there were seconds in this video at 2 minutes 5 seconds long. So if you've got that much time and you want to check it out, then after that, the next shorter video to talk about is a video with Hobie Doan called Hobie Doan Crushing Long Beach, and that's exactly what it is. You all know who he is, you've all seen his riding, you know that he's on point right now and just killing it, and this video is absolutely no exception. So if you want your street fix for the week, this is where you can find it. Then we can take it in a completely other direction and we can start talking about the longer videos from this week. So the next one that I want to talk about is Fingers Crossed episode 3. I don't know if this is the last episode or not, because each time leading up to this one, they showed what comes next at the end of the video, and that wasn't present here, but what was present is Ruben Alcantara and Garrett Burns taking their bikes and riding them at Revolution Bike Park. I forget what country it's in. I think it was France. But either way, they were riding some stuff that most people, if not everyone except for them, are riding on bikes that are 26, 27 and a half or bigger. And it was pretty cool to see these guys just hauling ass and shredding through these trails and riding on BMX bikes with just different forks and a little bit different setups. And then mixed throughout is a whole bunch of different interview stuff where they're talking about it and just telling the story of how it happened. And all in all, it was really well done and really well put together and very entertaining to watch. And I think that anyone who is even remotely interested in like dirt jumping or taking a BMX bike and modifying it and doing something else besides just riding ramps or trails or street with it would be interested in watching this video. And if you guys have enjoyed parts 1 and 2, you're definitely going to want to check this one out. And I hope that it's not the finale. I hope these guys keep traveling and keep riding these bikes in places. Maybe we'll see them take them up to Whistler and ride jumps that people actually ride on BMX bikes with these things, and then also immediately take them up to ride the trails that people just don't take BMX bikes on. Next up is a video that's 14 minutes 31 seconds long, and it's called Last Call to Lockdown, and it's a South Africa trip featuring some of the best riders in BMX right now. I'll give you a list: Greg Illingworth, Boyd Hilder, Dan Lacey, Murray Laubser, Jason Watts, and Corey Walsh. So just imagine what that all means, and there's a 14-minute long video for you to check out if you want to see these guys shredding around South Africa. Then if you guys remember last week, we talked about the Vans Homestead video with Dennis Anderson, Jason Watts, and Corey Walsh all riding around Dennis Anderson's revamped backyard ramp. Well, they've got a behind the scenes vlog type video over on our BMX that's 32 minutes long from that session. So if you guys want to see the behind the scenes and more of a vlog style video with these guys, like I talked about last week, there was just nothing but riding in the actual Homestead video. You're going to want to check this one out. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but there's 32 minutes here, and the guys who made it at our BMX know how to trim the fat on BMX videos. So I'm sure that all of it had to be in there, and all of it was something that provided some type of value to the person who's watching it. Next up, we've got the next installment of S&M's Woods Wednesdays video. This one is at Keith's Trails, and it's kind of funny. In the description it says, "Okay, you got us, they aren't in the woods," but Keith Hartwell's jumps are beautiful works of art in the SoCal desert. So if you guys want another trails video, there's an 8-minute video for you guys to check out. And then we can take it in another opposite direction and talk about a Common Crew video, another Edventures video. This is number 11, and this time it's a 16.5 minutes of adventures around the UK, France, and New York City. They have the Battle of Hastings in here, as well as Nora Cup, and then some street riding, and I saw the Eiffel Tower in there for a little bit as well. So if you guys want something completely different than everything else we've talked about today, that's one for you to check out. And then we can move into talking about some product related things. The first thing that I want to talk about here is the Vans Foot the Bill project. This is where Vans is selling custom shoes and donating the net proceeds from each pair of shoes sold to a number of different small businesses, including the Wheel Mill. So I've linked in the description below to the entire Foot the Bill page that shows every single custom shoe that they've got on there. So if you guys want to check that out and maybe see a business that you feel like supporting, or you're anywhere near the Wheel Mill or just want to support it in general, it's right there towards the top and you can check that one out in the link in the description below. As I've said, and everything linked below is in the order that I talk about it in this video. So then after that are a couple product promo videos, and the first one has to be the absolute best product promo video that I have ever seen for any BMX product, literally ever, and that is Shadow's video promoting their 2020 grip collection. They took videos of the signature people who was riding their grips, like Matt Ray for example, then showed the grips themselves on the screen at the same time, and then they showed the geometry behind them as far as like the length of the grip goes, and they showed the close-up view so you could get an idea of what the actual grip looks like. And it was just a really creative way to show all of their different grips and promote them in a 1-minute video that I feel like only somebody who's versed in marketing could do. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't really care. All I know is that this is the best promo video I've ever seen, and I just really wanted to talk about it and give it the praise that I feel like it deserves, which of course is all my personal opinion and could be completely wrong to 99% of you out there, which is exactly why there's a comment section down below for you to let me know your thoughts in. And then after that, there was a promo video from 80s Bike Co. for Gaspar Guendoulin's Shining Frame, followed by a couple different bike checks. The first one is just a photo bike check. It's with Jake Seeley from Sunday, and it goes over all of the parts that he's riding right now. Of course, the next two are video bike checks. The first one comes from Free Agent Bikes, and that's why I included it in here, because I feel like some of you who are watching this right now didn't even know that Free Agent was still a BMX company. It's with Ricky Moseley, and it's a video bike check, like I said. Then there's a video bike check from S&M with Dylan Kakowski for any of you who want to check out. And actually I lied, there's 4 bike checks to talk about this week. The last one that I forgot to talk about and put into my notes was with Ethan Corrier from Fit, and it's about his new sleeper bike build. And that brings us into the interview section from this week. The first thing that I want to talk about here is a video with Morgan Wade from Our BMX, and it's another least favorite, most favorite video. And the concept behind this is that Morgan Wade watches his most and least favorite video parts of all time and gives some live commentary while he's watching them. His most favorite is obviously his Drop the Hammer part, the one that won him a Nora Cup for video part of the year. And he goes through and talks about a lot of it. And there's some stuff in that I think a lot of people probably don't know, including the fact that he wanted a different song for it, but they didn't want to pay to get the rights for it or whatever the reason was. But the person who filmed most of the video did make an edit to that song way back then, and they put it up online so you guys can check that one out and see a total alternative to his award-winning video. Then his least favorite comes from an Empire video, and honestly I don't remember what it was called, but it was where he thought he was supposed to have a singled out section of his own, and then he ended up being put into the Friends section with all of the clips that he filmed. So he talked about that, and if you guys want to check it out, I'm gonna stop telling you where to find it because you already know. And then there's an interview with Karl Hinckley of Nowhere BMX from Ace BMX Media, and this is a 50-minute long interview where Karl kind of tells the whole story behind Nowhere, and he talks about his building that he's working on and just recently finished the skate park section of, and just a whole bunch of good stuff. And I feel like it's a good listen for anyone who doesn't really know what Nowhere is or what it means or why they're doing what they're doing. Then we've got a Palaver podcast. This is Chris Doyle's podcast, if you didn't know. And we've got an episode called She's Got the Look. And this is basically Chris sitting down, giving updates, telling some stories, and just talking about whatever he feels like. And so I don't say what I keep on saying. Let's just keep on rolling with this. The next thing to talk about is a Pat Casey interview with Vital BMX. It's another one of those Instagram live style videos that I keep talking about. This is called Quarantine Ketchup. And in all honesty, I haven't had a chance to check this one out yet, but from the description, we know that he talks about a new ramp project on Pat's ramp. They got a new pet pig and entertaining his insane children and much more. Then there's a written interview with Daniel Dhers discussing his skate park and how it's been affected by everything that's going on, which I also haven't had a chance to read through yet, but Vital BMX has a history of doing a good job with these interviews, and I'm not going to be surprised if it's another good one. And if one of you read it and it sucks, let me know in the comments down below. And with that, let me know your thoughts on anything that I talked about today in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't so that hopefully we can see you tomorrow for another video. I want to thank you for watching, and goodbye.